Rhodes Media.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to Sports Talk with Rhodes. Can you believe it? We are already on to the Phillies, and it's disappointing because it's going to be a monster extreme from where we were a week ago celebrating a parade to where we are now, one day away from spring training, and I am so disappointed in this baseball team. Think about the difference between Howie Roseman and Dave Dombrowski in their respected off seasons. What the Eagles said was this was unacceptable. We cannot stand for that type of failure. So we will go after some off-season acquisitions. Forget the draft, because two completely different sports. But here's money to CJ. Here's money to who? Saquon Barkley, one of the biggest splashes heard around the world. Now, Bryce Huff was a failure, but the attempt to get a pass rusher with double-digit sacks, hey, maybe there's something to that can help our team. He was wrong, but damn it, I at least respect the fact that he was willing to have a killer mentality. While Dave Dombrowski whistles his way on in to Citizens Bank Park. What the fuck? I hate that I'm here. Seriously. I hate that this is how I'm emotionally connected to my baseball team before the season even begins. But you got to prove to me that you have something special in this group. And the problem is there's no regular season action that's really going to sway me. Because are you going to be smart in the batter's box in October? That's what it comes down to. Phillies are in Sixers land now. And you see how the Sixers are doing. They're horrible. I checked in last night. Sixers Celtics, by the way. I'd rather wipe my ass for 4 hours than watch that product. So I randomly decided to check in the third quarter during the Four Nations USA-Canada game, which broke my heart last night, too. Probably a big reason why I'm pissed. Austin Matthews leaving Connor McDavid wide open in the slot after getting robbed by Binnington in overtime a couple of times. Come on, man. That's probably why I'm all fired up right now. But I check in. Sixers are down 30. What are we doing? It's the third quarter. Embiid had, I heard, Embiid had 3 rebounds. Didn't have any rebounds in the second half. That's just word to mouth, okay? I don't even know. But that's the danger the Phillies are playing with right now. It can go that way, or because there is, quote, no pressure, which Nick Castellanos, my God, we'll get to that audio momentarily. Or maybe because there's no expectation that they can play freely. And then it all works. And the stars align. You got to show me something. And look, if they put together something miraculous throughout the regular season, of course that's actually going to sway me. All right, I know I said it didn't, but of course it will. If they're 20 games over 500 at a certain point in the regular season and they seem to be clicking and their offense is humming and their lineup change actually works and produces this pesky little whatever they want to play and Trea Turner snagging bags and the whole shebang, then of course. But in the back of my mind, I'm always going to be wondering, when we get to the playoffs, are they going to be chasing? When it gets to the playoffs, are other teams going to laugh knowing when they study the tape, all they have to do is throw an off-speed pitch 8 feet off the outside part of the dish, and you're going to see people swinging out of their shoes? Because it seems to me whenever the pressure gets to them and whenever the moment is big, they collapse. And they lose everything that's good about themselves. It just gets thrown away in the dumpster. And they lose all their mechanics. They lose their mindset. Bohm's got to get benched. I mean, I can't stress this enough. That Alec Bohm got benched by Rob Thompson in the playoffs. Rob Thompson is Mr. I go down with my guys. You can't get more I believe in my guys, I trust my guys than Rob Thompson. It's probably physically impossible. And he's saying, get your ass on the bench. This guy is so mentally fragile in the sports world that he actually went up there, don't forget, and just started hacking at the first pitch after he already was told, get your head out of your ass. His response was to go up there and just hack at the first pitch and fly out to the infield. In the playoffs. That guy's coming back. It's a weird vibe down in Clearwater right now for me. JT's playing left field. So what's that mean? More stubs in the lineup? Great. Sosa's playing center, getting some time, snagging some balls out there. Think about this. We went into the offseason saying there's no way I can ever watch a team again go with Marsh and Rojas and platoon. By the way, Marsh is still here. And I like Marsh, but he can't hit lefties. I'm not saying, oh, he improved. No, he can't hit lefties. He can't hit lefties. So that's a problem. Now, we went into the year saying that wasn't good enough, or into the offseason saying that wasn't good enough. Edmundo Sosa is a utility and a good utility guy off your bench who can play around the infield diamond. And that's important. That's a very solid role. Center field now. Center field? Marsh and Rojas, not good enough. All right, this is what Dave Dombrowski handed us. Sosa taking fly balls. See what I'm saying here? And don't forget about Max Kepler. I hate that I feel this way. The last thing I want to do is head into a year with this type of hatred in my heart towards my baseball team. And maybe I need this. Maybe I need to get this out of me because it's been a really long time. You know, everyone says you never forget how to ride a bike, and the first time you get on the bike again, it's muscle memory. But to be fair, the first time you're on the bike, there's a little wobble in the handlebars. It turns to the right, it turns to the left until you establish yourself to start riding the bike straight again, right? Maybe this is me with the wobble. I need to get this out. All right, let me pour out my frustration on what this offseason was all about because we haven't spent a lot of time on them considering the football team that applied the proper assets to the squad after a disappointing season in their offseason, actually held their end of the bargain. See what I'm saying there? So let's go here. Before we do, I love my friends over at Garage Beer. It's the greatest beer on planet Earth. 0% IPA, 100% light beer, 1,000% quality. DrinkGarageBeer.com. There is no better beer to help you get through a painful baseball season than Garage Beer. The one thing that's being discussed a lot is the lineup, right? We know Trea Turner would like to bat lead off, and they've done this thing with Kyle Schwarber for a while. I have been a big monster supporter of Kyle Schwarber is the greatest leadoff hitter to ever exist, and there's nobody better, and he's just phenomenal, and I love it, and there's nothing more beautiful than Kyle Schwarber batting one. It makes no sense, but it looks awesome, and he's great, and I fucking love it. Well, unfortunately for him, his teammates did not hold his, their end of the bargain, and it hurt his stock as a leadoff guy, unfortunately. My point is, he's not the reason why they weren't winning. No, I'm not telling you he had a great at-bat, every at-bat ever, okay? But I'm just saying, him batting leadoff was not why this team didn't reach their goal. With that said, when your president of baseball operations doesn't fulfill his duties, someone has to pay the price. Kyle Schwarber is going to have to pay the price and not bat leadoff this year. They are going to go with Trea Turner, and I don't like it. It's a soft statement in my eyes. Don't give me numbers. I know baseball is all about numbers, and he hit this. Trea Turner has been disappointing. Trea Turner was supposed to be a superstar. Trea Turner, good baseball player who sucks defensively. That's what it is. He's good, but man, he sucks at shortstop. Sucks. Flat out sucks at shortstop. But I don't want to hear about his batting average. I watched every game just like everybody else watched every game. Trea Turner offensively, his numbers don't tell the full story. When you look back without any context and say, well, he hit this. Yeah, I watched the games. It wasn't as impactful as the numbers actually say. I've been through this a lot with some of these guys. There have been years where Nick Castellanos, you look at the box score after or you look at the stats after, it's like, well, he hit 268. Yeah, but he sucked. Okay, I'm just telling you. So Trea Turner, there's some of that applies to his last year batting average and all that stuff. But listen, yes, he can get on first. Yes, he can steal a bag. Yes, he can blah, blah, blah. If I'm a starting pitcher and I see Kyle Schwarber step up bat number one, there's a fear factor. Trea Turner comes up. Here's where I'm going. I'm going Bryce. I want to set a tone. There's fire in that decision. That's a feisty move. Your first at-bat of the game, you're going up against Bryce Harper. The same way Shohei Ohtani leads off, the same way all these other teams put their number one dog and their workhorse up top, and he gets the most at-bats on the team. Give it to me now. That's why whenever somebody says, well, Stott is a traditional, shove the traditional up your ass. And number two, listen, I like Stott. He's got a lot to prove. And yes, there's probably something to be said about that injury that was lingering because I think he's a better baseball player than what he provided for us last year. I think he can absolutely put together stronger at-bats, better mental approaches at the plate. I think he was hurt in last season, and there's no doubt about it. But there's no way when Shohei Ohtani's getting the most at-bats for the Dodgers, when some of these top dogs, Aaron Judge, are getting these crazy amount of ABs, I am not having Bryson Stott have the most at-bats on my team when you can relate that to a Bryce Harper. So I don't care about what the traditional world says. This ain't traditional baseball anymore. I don't want it. I'd go Trea over Stott, and I like Stott. I'm just saying, right now, not the time. I want Bryce. I would go Bryce, Trea, because I have to, but I don't love it. I'd go Bryce, Trea, Bohm, Kyle, Nick. That's how I would do this. Now, I don't like Alec Boehm's mental approach to the game, but there's no doubt about it that right-handed bat was very important in doubles, RBI. It just comes down to, does any point, will there be a crackage? Will any point, will there be something that gets him off the rails? And then you can tell he's frustrated. And there were a lot of trade talks. How does he handle those trade talks? And I'm not telling you I like this angle whatsoever, but I know it is an angle. His relationship went public, and now there's all controversy about that and how much he started to not perform once that happened. And listen, I don't do that. I'm not doing that. But I'm just saying, I know that's another element here, and that's another sort of angle to this with social media and all that. So that's also a part of this. It's easy when it's the early stages of spring training to say, hey, this is great. We're in a good space. I've been dealing with this since I got to Philadelphia. So what's another offseason of a bunch of noise? But then you actually feel the noise. Then you actually feel the pressure. And is this team tough enough to somehow manage through whenever there's some lows? Let's compare the Eagles. And I hate to do cross sports all the time, but it's easy to put it in perspective when you just watch a championship run. If the Philadelphia Phillies go through something similar to Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, 2-2 bye-week reset, and then after that, they just open up the floodgates, and now they're putting together 10 wins in a row in the NFL. If the Phillies go through something brutal where they're 10 games under 500 after 40 games, do they have what it takes to go 30 games? But you get my point. Just a big stretch of wildly good baseball equivalent to, I guess a 10-game winning streak in the NFL is a big fucking deal. So can you do some way you go 30 games over 500 through another window to set yourself up to be 20 games over 500, and then you're starting to push good? Do they have what it takes? Now, to be fair, I didn't think the Eagles did, and they did. I didn't expect it, and they did. So maybe there's something to it. But I don't get the vibe from this group. This is a perfect time to get to Nick Castellanos. This was about from 4 days ago in the clubhouse. Man, Nick Castellanos is a strange cat. Take a listen to this interview. about why Nick Castellanos believes the Phillies have less pressure. Okay. Wow. Just think about this. Less pressure to win this season. Here's Nick Castellanos.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna go deep in October. I don't know any of that. All I know is that we need to stay healthy and prepare in spring training and get ready for the season. That's so far down the road. But I do think that we have less pressure as a team this year. Especially with like everything the media said about us when we lost last year, and we didn't really go out and make any crazy changes. So like if we lose, you guys look smart, which is dope, right? But then if we win, it's like a happy surprise. So like it's kind of a freeing place to play baseball. You know what I mean?
Yes.
For sure.
Because you said you don't know if you're going to go deep, but why do you think you're good enough to go deep? How about that? Your lineup.
We'll find out if we are or we're not.
Do you think you're good enough?
Sure.
Why?
I think we have a chance.
Just because of the talent? Or?
We have a good team.
All right, so, wow. All right. I know he's different, and he's definitely different. Originally, I thought he had to have been being sarcastic. He's just having fun with the media. He's loose. Hey, if we suck, you guys look to be geniuses, right? If we don't do our job and you're counting us out, then you guys look to be really phenomenal at your job. Congratulations. But then as I sit there and I listen longer and I see his body language and I see the way that he's addressing some of these questions, now he believes what he's saying. And there's one of two ways to look at this. One, that's Nick. And Nick's never going to change. And if that's how he internalizes it to play free baseball, I don't care what you do to internalize certain things. I just need the result to be pretty. I just need the result to be strong. So however you do it as a pro athlete, I don't care. Just make sure the job's done. So if in a world Nick does say, you know what, this guy thinks I suck, that guy thinks I suck, that guy thinks I stink, we all stink. So you know what? Hey, I'm just going to go, there's no expectations here. And that results in hitting 335 bombs, 106 RBI, and my man's on a mission this season. That's great. So that's one way to look at it, where if that's how he applies it to his head and we get the results, 2 thumbs up, we get the results. That's what matters. Here's the kicker, though. He is a leader of this team. He has a voice in this clubhouse. How do others take that? How does Stott take that? How does, I don't want to say Bryce, because Bryce is a superstar in his own right, so it's a little different. But how do guys take that? And if Nick doesn't care about how others take it, he's only worried about himself, and he can only control the controllable, maybe that's the reason why we're in this situation and this problem to begin with. Because one of our leaders isn't even worried about how that impacts the clubhouse or how that impacts other guys. He's just worried about himself. And I'm not saying he's a selfish player. That's not what I'm saying. But subconsciously, if he's not worried about how that hits the room, then maybe that's part of a bigger problem. Not that he's evil, bad person. That's not what I'm saying. Because I do think he genuinely cares about his teammates. I think he loves the game of baseball. He's the guy who wants to be out there for 162. Not that I think Rob Thompson should just say, oh, well, if he wants to, let's go have at it then, because that's ridiculous. But I think he cares. I think it's something that maybe he's not thinking about. He's just not forward thinking into that, which could be a problem. But that's bizarre. I don't know if we can go deep into October. Well, what do you mean? Right? While Trea Turner is out there saying anything short of winning is unacceptable. So that was Nick Castellanos, one of the leaders. Let's go to Trea Turner, who has been through a ton, and in my eyes has been extremely disappointing since signing that big contract. Here's Trea since joining the team at spring training. Here we go.
Coming off that and how the season ended? Is it more like flush it, move on, or is it something that motivates you?
I think, the last few years frustrating. When you don't win, it's frustrating. You want to win, and I think that's all of our goals. So I think anything short of that is, borderline, unacceptable in the sense that we have high goals. We have the team. We have the coaching staff, the ownership. Everyone's, going in the same direction. So when you're doing all those things and you don't win, it's frustrating. And I think we look back and there's good parts of seasons and fun moments and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we want to win. So it's kind of all that really matters.
So I do like that he says it's borderline unacceptable. I think that's a phenomenal way to put it. But then he also goes on here and says he hasn't watched any of his games from September and October of 2024. Don't you think that maybe you would see what was going wrong? Don't you think that it would be a good idea to see what was happening that you can't allow to happen again? No? I hate that. I hate that. Now, could it be, and here I am trying to spin this positive, but I don't know if this is positive. Listen, golf's a very difficult sport, right? I'm not a great golfer. I could hang with the fellas, but I'm not a great golfer. Sometimes I know that when I start to overcomplicate and think about all right, my hips, my arms, my backswing, my follow, I got 95 different things going through my head, and before you know it, my hips open up too early. I'm watching the ball start to slice. What the hell is going on here, right? Is this something where if I'm focused in golf on making sure I'm not doing all the wrong things and then more bad things happen because of it, does he want to remove himself from that? And then he's just studying all the good at-bats to be like, hey, this is what was happening when I was hitting well. This is what was happening when things were going strong. This is what was happening when I was rocking the baseball out of the park. I need to get back to that. Let's focus on all those key factors when I was succeeding. Listen, maybe, but I do think it's ludicrous to not look back at what went wrong. So he wasn't watching any of his bad at-bats late in the season. Really? All right. See how this is a little wacky? So since we're talking about leadership, messaging, here's a question about Topper, who I like. I like Rob Thompson. He's a very poised manager. I think he's got fire in him behind the scenes. I do. I think he's got some nastiness to him when needed. Is he the guy to go into that clubhouse to start this year and just enter with a load of piss and vinegar to get this team jumping? And the reason why I feel the answer is no is because I thought they had such a focus on a hot start. Remember that? Hey, we got to get out to a hot start. All of our starts over the years were weaker. We really want to see what we could do. Well, now I don't think they care about a hot start. Now I think they care about just getting to the playoffs and see what happens. We're going to get guys days off. We're going to get guys rest. We're going to see how we can really leverage this 162-game season to our benefit. So when October comes around, nobody's beaten down. Nobody's broken. You know what that is? That's 76ers basketball. Get in and see what happens. What are the Sixers, 20-36 about this not get into the play-in? So now I believe they're going to nonchalantly look at the regular season, put Stubbs in there a lot, have JT get off of his feet, go play in left field. I swear to God, if they give him an extension, I'm going to punch a hole in my wall. There's no way that can be beneficial to this franchise at this particular time of his career. That would piss me off. And I swear to God, if I see Bryce Harper or anybody else wearing a T-shirt that says sign JT, I'm going to punch another hole in my wall. But I think they're going to lackadaisical this thing. Just, all right, let's get through because we trust our talent when it matters most. And if we're as fresh as we can be heading into the playoff, show me when that's good. Show me when that's going to help this thing out. Look, maybe if you're the Houston Astros who go to 7,343 ALCSs in a row, then maybe you earn the benefit of the doubt. But after every year, we're backtracking, World Series appearance, losing in Game 7 in the NLCS at home to a garbage Arizona Diamondbacks team in Game 6 and Game 7. I can't believe it. You sucked. Losing in the NLDS to a New York Mets team. And by the way, this bullpen, how's that going? You guys feel great about the bullpen? I like the Luzardo move. Congrats, Dave. You made the Luzardo move. I like the Luzardo move. I like the staff. Now, I don't think Ranger Suarez can be a starter because his innings always catch up to him. So if you can have him as a Swiss Army knife type of role, I would love that. But I don't know if that's how it's going to go, and I don't anticipate it to do that. I'm just saying that's what I would do. Maybe to bolster up some of the bullpen and whatnot. But his innings, it always makes him fatigued. It always gets him tired. Always has him break down, and then he can never be that same Ranger Suarez. Why don't you try something like Wheeler, Nola, Luzardo, Sanchez, Andy Painter? Hey, don't forget, though, Dave Dombrowski told us a few days back that that Taijuan Walker had some good stuff going on. I'm sorry. I feel guilty. I do. I even mentioned maybe a week ago I was going to do my very best to enter this season with, I'm not going to tell you optimism, because that would be doing everybody a disservice. That would be doing myself a disservice. But I didn't want to come out of the gates with just pitchforks saying, I hate you. And we got some time until the regular season, so maybe I just needed to get this out because the Phillies' frustration has been bottled up for so long, and there has been a ton going on in this city to distract us from it. So I needed this 30 minutes or so just to, all right, that felt good. It's like if you got a lot internalized and you go to some kickboxing class or you go to some boxing class and you just get to for like an hour, swing punches at a bag, and you're just like, that was good. I needed that. I needed to get that stress out of me. Maybe I need to get my Philly stress out of me, and then as we continue to talk about the pros and cons of this team, I start to warm up, okay? I know a lot of people do feel very similar to me, though. And it makes a lot of sense because they sat on their hands and said, trust me, this team's good enough. This is the back end of this core, which is problematic considering Trea Turner's here for a while. And I hate that contract. Man, I hate that contract. I don't know what the Kyle thing. I want JT gone. I would figure out a Kyle Schwarber thing for sure. If you wanted to keep Schwarbs, I mean, he's a pro's pro, and because of his bat and because of the DH, there's ways to do that. But I was talking to Devin Caney, who was down in Clearwater for WIP. She was doing a lot of check-ins, and she mentioned how Kyle Schwarber was playing first base and getting some reps over there because maybe he wants to, show some value in his ability to do more than just hit. And if there is a world where he can show that he can play other positions, he can get Bryce Harper to get some time off. You know what's funny, too? Think about this. The reason why JT Realmuto is playing left field is because it's a less taxing position than catcher, which, okay, yeah, I get it. It's tough on the knees. But if that's such a, what's the best way to say it? If that's such a position that is viewed as an off day, kind of, it's a different type of day on your body. Yeah, just go out and play left. Just go run out there, right? Don't worry about it. Bryce Harper was an outfielder. Why can't he still play outfield? Why did it have to be he was shoring up first base? That's the position where it's, But then when it came to Bryce Harper, it's, he can't play outfield. I mean, that's crazy to put that type of stress on the body of Bryce Harper. What the hell are we doing? I don't know. That's just me. Outward thinking. I don't know. Listen. What a world. Here's my lineup. Bryce, Trey, Boom, Kyle, Nick, Stott, JT, Marsh, Kepler. I'm sorry. I love you guys. We'll be talking soon. See you on the next one. Go Birds.